Hello and good morning, everyone. Only positivity here. I have my coffee with me, ready to explore this new phase of life with you all. So over the past few years, I have gained a whole new perspective on life, and I've realized that life is too short to not be enjoying yourself while doing great things. So come along with me as I explore this new lens through fitness, photography, reading, traveling, cannabis, and much more. Looking forward to the journey, guys. And remember, only positivity. And we are live, my bro.
Hey, how are you, Amr?
I'm doing well, dude. Man, I appreciate you coming out here, dog.
Yeah,
Thanks for coming, dude.
My pleasure. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, man. Did you like teriyaki madness?
It was delicious.
Hey.
It was so good I couldn't finish it.
Dude, man. Like I was telling you, man, my brother-in-law didn't have the best experience with it.
He needs to try it again.
He
If your brother-in-law listens to this podcast, he needs to try it again.
Yeah. Laughing at you.
Those are some doctor's orders.
But yeah, man, what do you call it? I went there yesterday and I went there again today. So I'm probably going to start abusing that place very, very soon.
There you
man.
go.
Yeah.
They got a loyal customer.
Yeah, man.
I should get you some of those, what do they call them, loyalty cards or whatever?
Dude, I downloaded the app, bro.
There you
And
go.
the dude told me, he's like, man, after like X amount of meals, I forget what the number, he's like, you'll get a free bowl. And I was like, say no more.
There you
Scan.
go.
Like,
Scan away.
We in here. No, man. But other than that, how was the day out in Wisconsin?
It was good, man. It was good. Wisconsin. I was in up north in Wisconsin. Nice little drive back, but I appreciate you accommodating. So thanks, man. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, dude. Do you like driving?
I like driving fast cars
Okay.
and not long distances.
I feel you.
So like anything over an hour, not ideal. I'll do it,
Yeah.
but not ideal.
Is there traffic like coming back? Or
Yeah,
is it
like today there was traffic.
Really?
It depends on the time and day.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's not, but like it's very wide open road, and so I just get really like bored, and so I'll try to put in calls or things that I need to do.
Yeah.
If I just for like to keep me awake. If I listen to a podcast, I may stay awake. Like there's this one night I went up to Green Bay and I was listening to the Elizabeth Holmes podcast.
Yeah, I do actually.
Yeah. So I forgot what it's called, but it was on whatever the Apple podcast thing is. And I was listening to that and I was like actually engaged and intrigued. That was fine.
Yeah.
Normally, like if I have to listen to like, a recording or an education call or something, may not make the most sense. So I'll try to take phone calls.
It's dry, dude. Like some of those educational ones. Like, I mean, we try to be good people and expand our horizons, when we have time.
Yeah.
But man, sometimes you just want to sit back and listen to like some kind of crime story or something that's gonna just like make me I don't know, just enjoy that ride a little bit more, man. I'm trying to learn all the time.
Today I had Indian food for lunch and
Let's go.
I had some mango lassi. I love my sweets.
Let's go.
So I had 2 mango lassis. So I did work out this morning in case anybody's wondering. I burned
that was my next question.
I burned the calories of the mango lassi, but Indian food's kind of heavy, so I was kind of feeling the dozing, and so it's tough, but it's not bad.
And you're sitting there, dude. You're sitting there in the car, man, and that stuff is just like brewing inside of you. And, it's
like what I noticed is if it's sunny outside, if it's sunny outside, I could pass out.
Game over. Yeah, dude.
Game over.
That's the thing about this heat wave we're having right now, dude. Is like it makes me feel like heavy.
Yeah.
I went for a run yesterday or on Wednesday, and yesterday was Wednesday, and I felt like I had ankle weights on, dude.
Oh my gosh.
I was just like, oh god.
Yeah, I enjoy the sun. So like if I had like on the balcony, I could lay out on the balcony and
sunbathe a little.
Yeah, just and pass out, go to sleep. It's great,
dude. So those mango lassis, man, were they thicker, like more yogurty in consistency, or were they like,
it's like a happy medium?
Happy medium. I like that.
It was like
dude.
the straw was like it was liquidy enough where I could suck it out with the straw.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good. It was good. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I'm trying to know about that, dude. Because not all mango lassis are made the same, dude.
You're gonna be a mango lassi connoisseur.
yeah, dude. That's my next step.
Amr's mango lassis, come and get them.
Right, new podcast. Amr's lassis.
Yep. But actually, the people that own this place, I think there's only 2 Indian restaurants in Appleton or Green Bay, wherever it was.
Yeah.
It's like a family that bought it, and the husband works. The wife, I think, runs it. They have 2 kids. Like it was just interesting to see. I was like, well, why do you live in Appleton out of all places? Which is fine. But I guess they like the area and the business is doing really good. So
I mean, if there's only a couple, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's only a couple Indian restaurants out there. I'm sure they're doing pretty well
They're doing
for
pretty
themselves,
good.
right?
Yep.
Like, but yeah, man, no, that's really good, dude. I find that drive up to Wisconsin is so like flat
Yeah.
that it's not even enjoyable sometimes. Like I like driving too, but if you ever, make your way out to the coasts,
Yeah.
you get some good drives.
I heard there's on the coast, this is something that my dad has wanted to do for some reason. Highway number 1.
Highway 1, dude. Yeah.
Have you done it?
Oh, me and Alyssa, we drove a little bit of Highway 1 when we went to Monterey a couple weeks ago.
Nice.
So we didn't take it. So it's going to be a little bit longer when you take that route. So we flew into San Fran and drove up to Monterey at night. So I was like, what's the point?
Yeah.
So we took just the normal highway. But on the way back, we left in the morning and we drove Highway 1. Dude, it's indescribable, bro.
I think even if you're in San Francisco, right? Like even in San Francisco normally, like I was there, I don't know, a couple months ago for a wedding, and getting from the airport to where I was going in Benicia, it's just so nice. There's like nice mountains, there's some water. It's good. It's nice. That drive, I don't mind.
And yeah, not at all, man. And every drive there is like you're gonna get something good in there. And like when you get big nature in it, it really humbles you, man. It's like really nice to be like, I feel like so we drive to Kansas City often to visit my brother and sister-in-law. And don't get me wrong, it's fun, but I almost feel like I'm not moving because it's just flat land. It's just like it's like, oh man, when am I gonna get there, dude? I feel like it's just like I'm on this like.
How far is Kansas City from here?
It's about an 8-hour drive.
Oh man. Yeah. How long is the flight?
About 45 minutes. So yeah. We make a thing of it. We do the road trip thing. It's like that last hour, 45 minutes of driving, that's unbearable. Yeah. It's like, oh dude, I could feel it, dude. I could feel it.
Like you're so close.
Yeah.
Salivating. It's like you're so close.
Dude, 100%. But yeah, man, definitely if your dad wants to do that, that should be enough of a reason for you guys to just rent a car and get out there and do it, man.
I'll let him know. He's
so much fun. Yeah, dude. I would highly recommend it.
For sure.
But anywho, why don't we go ahead and dive in, bro? What do you think?
Yeah.
So I know we were talking a little bit before.
Yeah.
And I don't want to put you on the spot, so you don't have to give me anything polished or anything like that. Yeah. But I think one thing like would be good to try out is just like an elevator pitch, right? Sure. And if you were going to introduce yourself to me, and let's say we weren't in a work setting, right? Sure. We were outside of it. And I bumped into you and we like kind of got chatting. What would you say, in terms of introducing yourself to me? I mean, aside from saying, hey, I'm Veeral Vyas.
Yeah. I think I think normally when I start conversations, it may not be an elevator pitch, but normally when I start conversations, I just try to connect on some level, right? Like you find common ground, you take people to higher ground. Right. And so I would probably just be like, hey, Amr, where are you from in India? Like I try to connect with you, right? Yeah. Like, are you Indian or whatever, right? And I try to connect and go from there. But if I were to, just give you like my little spiel, just be like, hey, my name's Veeral. I grew up in the Chicagoland area in a Indian family. I work in healthcare, and I just really like to, play sports and travel and just enjoy myself and kind of see where that goes. And then based on that, take the conversation from there.
Cool, man. So you got kind of a well-rounded approach, right?
Yeah. So I think I read it in this book, and I think my dad told me too, like if you're going to meet somebody and you're having a conversation, you could probably use this acronym, and like all throughout pharmacy school, I had to like remember acronyms to kind of like
and get you by.
Memorize everything, I'm not the smartest tool in the shed. But so it was FORM. It was family, occupation, recreation, and message.
Oh, snap.
So like if I was going to meet you, I'd be like, hey, my name's Veeral. Like, you give me your name. Be like, oh, that's great. Like, are you from the area? You'd say yes. And I try to ask more open-ended questions, right? Yeah. So I'd be like, oh, like, what does your family look like? Or if you had a kid or someone, I'd be like, oh, who is that? I'd ask like, what do you do? Tell me more about what you do. What do you like to do for fun? Yeah. Open-ended questions. And then kind of, as people talk, they kind of like feel you more, Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. And that's one thing I like about you, man, is like you're someone who likes to connect with people and not just kind of stop the conversation at hi, hello. Yeah. Thanks, man.
No, yeah, of course, dude.
And that's how we met. I probably bothered you at work, and I was like, hey, man, let me keep bothering this guy.
Hey, man, do you know how to print things? I was like, oh, I don't, dude. Hook me up.
Can you teach me?
Yeah, dude. No. So that's really good. So we got you're in healthcare. Mm-hmm. You like pharmacist. Yep. Like to play sports. Yep. So tell me a little bit about tell me a little bit more about like let's go back, right? Let's take it back to the beginning. Okay. So So you grew up in the Chicagoland area.
Yeah. So I grew up in a suburb called Mount Prospect.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, and then so I'm assuming your parents, you're second generation. First generation.
So my parents immigrated from India here.
Okay.
I was born and raised here.
Oh, okay. So you're first generation here. Okay.
Yep.
So your parents grew up in India. What part of India?
Gujarat. Yeah,
Gujarat.
different parts of Gujarat. So we're Gujarati, 100%.
Snap. Oh, represent, dude.
Yeah.
What's up, boy? So my mom is from Nadiad,
Okay.
near Ahmedabad, right?
Okay. So
What-
my dad is from Ahmedabad
Okay.
and my mom is from Baroda.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice,
Yeah.
dude.
So normally, like if I meet someone or if I'm, again, this goes back to the connecting piece. If I'm trying to connect with someone, I have nothing in common with them. I ask them where they're from.
Yeah.
Say, I'm from, some specific part of India. Great. Oh, my dad's from Gujarat. Oh, great. What part? Ahmedabad. My mom's from Baroda. Okay, great.
Here we go. We open some up.
You
dude.
bring the barrier down, right? They're like, who's this rando?
Yeah,
You bring
exactly.
the barrier down.
Makes them, it humanizes them a little bit,
for
right?
sure.
Yeah, it's interesting because only my mom is from India.
Okay.
And my dad's from Africa.
Okay.
But there's a whole host.
A lot of
Indian
Indian people are from Africa. right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a little different,
Yeah.
like than the normal Indian you'd see.
Yeah.
you
But
know?
so then I'd say, hey, Elmer, actually, my dad's grandfather's grandfather or grandfather somewhere up the line,
Yeah.
they were actually in Kenya.
Yeah.
And that's where they kind of had to get stationed for work and
Huge.
connect on that way. And so my last name is Vyas. There's actually a lot of Vyas's that I learned
Yeah.
from Africa.
Yeah. Dude, my grandmother,
Mm-hmm.
Bain, her maiden name is Vyas, Premila Vyas.
Dude, we're probably related somehow.
Somewhere along the line, we're probably connected, man. You know what I'm saying? So okay.
Dude, we're going to talk about this offline. Remind me.
Yeah.
I have a question that may not be suitable for this, but yeah.
Yeah, dude. We'll go into that. So your parents.
Well, so side
go.
noting,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
So Pandya is Brahmin, right?
Yep.
So we're Brahmin too.
Brahmin bros.
Pretty sure we're related somehow.
Link up, dude.
Yeah,
Catch
yeah,
me.
yeah.
Yeah. So your parents came to
Mm-hmm.
America. Did they come to Chicago, Illinois first, or I'm assuming they landed in New York somewhere? No.
No, which would be the norm, but no.
Right.
My dad's family, my dad's brother was here, so he came here.
Okay.
My mom's Gaka was here,
Okay.
so that's why they came here.
Okay. And
So they both came to Chicago.
they both came to Chicago straight. And
Both
so your
families.
dad has one brother
My dad has one older brother and one older sister.
and one older sister.
And my mom has one older sister and one younger brother.
Oh wow. Okay. So
Yeah.
we got
And
the-
my mom's side of the family is pretty much all in the area.
Oh nice.
Yeah, pretty much all like within, if you look on like, Golf Road,
Yeah, that's all you guys.
pretty much from Schaumburg to Des Plaines.
Let's go, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Golf Road is one of those roads that the Indians have claimed big
Yep.
time. It's nobody else's.
But,
So they came to Chicago, and do you know what year they came?
in the 80s.
In the 80s, right? That
the
seems to be
80s.
when everyone came.
Yeah.
So they came in the
So-
80s.
My mom's Kaka, so my dada on my mom's side,
Yeah.
his youngest brother, I think, came like in the 70s maybe?
Okay.
70s or late 60s or something.
Yeah.
And he came and like, so they all kind of, the story of that is, I think my dada's dad had passed away when they were younger. And so the mom had kind of scraped together a lot of, somehow figured out how to, the mom and the brothers, I think it was 4 brothers.
Yeah.
They kind of scraped together how to figure out how to send the youngest brother to make it.
Right.
Like so he made it.
All eggs in one
Yep.
basket, dude.
And so like this dada, Arjun Dada, was like the hope of the family.
Nice.
And so Arjun Dada came here, and then he started bringing everyone one by one.
Wow.
And that's how they kind of did that.
Wow. And you said Arjun Dada was your mom's
Kaka.
Kaka.
Yeah, so my dada, like my mom's dad's brother.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah, it's interesting because like you'll like I'll talk to people and like they'll be like, oh yeah, I know Arjun. I'm like, oh great, I know Arjun this time. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I don't know.
Cool.
I don't know what to tell you.
He's got clout apparently,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
So they come here
Uh-huh.
and they both moved to Chicago separately, or were they married in India?
No, so that's a interesting story. My dad's, if I understand the story correctly, my dad's brother was here.
Okay.
How he got here, I don't really remember, whatever, but he was
Yeah.
here. I think his wife's family or somehow he got here. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But my mom, I think, either used to work for my dad's brother, so my kaka,
Nice.
or like babysit my cousins. I don't know the exact story, but I know for a fact that she hung out with my cousins. And so my mom actually knew my cousins before she knew my dad.
Wow.
Yeah, and so they kind of met, got introduced. I'm not exactly sure the details and whatnot,
Yeah.
wrote love letters or whatever. And then my dad got married, and then they moved here.
Nice.
From what I understand.
So love marriage.
Yes, love marriage.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Love marriage. To
Look
your
at
point,
that.
yes, something in your wheelhouse, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And I think if I understand correctly, they're different. Like, so my dad's Brahmin, my mom is. There's like something different about the kind of Brahmin, or there's something like different that it wasn't like kosher or whatever.
Sure.
And so like the families weren't about it or whatever, and so. And you know, like in Indian culture, there's like certain times or years that you can get, or certain time of the year that you can get married and whatnot. So
Janmaksha and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Let's
so
go.
like there's, I think in December you can't get married or something.
Okay.
So they got married in December. They didn't care what the families thought.
Nice.
It was a true like, you know.
A couple trailblazers, huh?
Yeah,
Look at
so
that.
it's like in the 80s.
Dude.
So like my dad's pretty like opinionated about it. He'll be like, listen, if I want to get married to you, I'm gonna get married to you. Boom, boom. Like,
Yep.
doesn't matter what the parents think. Call it a day.
Strong
Like,
man, dude.
obviously like much more politically nicer or whatever, but that's
Good.
the gist of it.
Good for him, dude.
Yeah.
Good for him, right?
Yeah.
Taking charge, dude. I like that.
So, so they got married, and I think they lived with my kaka, my dad's brother, for a hot minute.
Mm-hmm.
And then he moved. He was in the pharma industry. He moved, went somewhere else. I think Michigan at the time, and so that's how I have some ties to Michigan. But then my parents moved to Mount Prospect.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. So we've come to Mount Prospect here.
Yep.
And again, dude, very, very hard knocks, right? A lot of like, I don't know if this is gonna work out, but I'm gonna do it.
Yeah,
And
it's interesting, right? Because like those people in that generation, they don't really have like, I feel like in our generation, we're like, oh, should we were talking about like moving, right? Like, oh, should I do this? Should I not? In their generation, they don't really have the choice of, do I want quartz countertops? Do I want granite countertops?
floor to ceiling windows.
Yeah. Do I want Korean? Do I want Porsche? Whatever. Like, no. Like, it is what it is. And like, floor to ceiling windows. What is that? I'm happy I have something. You know.
How dare you?
Yeah. And so it's interesting. They just figure it out and they make it work.
Yeah.
And to that point, I was talking to somebody who's either the vice president or chief pharmacy officer of a very big health plan.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very type A, if you can't tell. And this individual is also very type A.
Sure.
And this individual is like, hey, you know, if you're at some point, like us type A people, you want to make decisions with all the data, right? And you want to have all the information. You're never going to have all the information. At some point, you just got to jump and do it. And that's kind of like to the point of these immigrants, right?
Yeah.
The first generation people, like they didn't have everything figured out. They just had to do the best with what they had.
Yep. And that's scary. You know, that's very scary. I'm actually reading this book right now called Anti-Fragile, and it says that, you know, like volatility is good for human beings, right? Like you were just saying, like we have this need to like always know the outcome, right? But that's actually detrimental to doing things, right? And they say that, like, you know, you should control the risk, but not like define it 100%. Like the risk should not kill you or be so detrimental that it derails you completely. But a certain amount of risk is going to be beneficial to you, you know?
Who's the author of this book? 'Cause as you're talking about it, I kind of want to read it.
It's
Nassim Taleb?
Yep, exactly.
Cool.
Yeah, dude. I can even give you that book once I'm done with it, man. It's a good book, dude. You'll really like it. And especially for someone like, you know, us who are very fact-based.
Yeah.
Volatility is more fact-based than you think it is.
Really?
Right? And like,
I'm really excited to read it now.
It's good. It's a little dense, but I think someone like you will really like it. But what I'm trying to say is, even your parents and that didn't even have that definable risk. They had completely 99% risk of failure, man. You know, like no type of foresight. They were just like, I'm gonna make this shit work, and that's it. There's no other option.
Yeah, and it's interesting to that point, right? Like my dad has sometimes said, he's like, hey, you know, like what's the worst that can happen, and can you live with it? 2 questions. What's the worst that can happen, and can you live with it?
Nice.
Both answers are, you know, like yes, go for it,
dude. Your dad seems like a very, very forward-thinking man, dude. Simple but forward-thinking.
He's pretty progressive for his time. Let's put it that way.
Seems that way from what you're seeing. You know what I mean? Yeah, I've only spoken to him a couple times, but he seems like a pretty chill dude. You know?
Yeah.
But
certain issues maybe not. Yeah.
Cool. So we come to Mount Prospect, right?
Yep.
And you have siblings?
Yeah, I have one younger brother.
Yep. And
He's 4 years younger than me.
4 years younger than you. So you come along, and you start, and when you're about a couple years away from kindergarten, your brother pops in.
Yeah. So my and at that time, my grandfather and grandmother on my dad's side, they lived with us, or they would come back and forth from India or whatever. But they were like there, and so I don't remember the exact story of how it worked out, but I remember that my mom made us speak Gujarati at home.
Yeah.
And she was like, "You'll learn English when you go to school." So we spoke Gujarati at home, and I went to kindergarten speaking Gujarati.
Yeah.
So I was like super confused.
Yeah.
And I remember I had a teacher, I think her name was Miss Barbie. I'm not sure if it was or if I just called her Miss Barbie. I'm not sure. Probably would do something like that. But I would speak Gujarati to her, and there was like a kitchen. I'd like try to explain everything to her in Gujarati, and she's like, "This kid needs to be in ESL or something."
Sums up.
Yeah. So then I went to ESL, and all my colleagues or the people that I would remember all spoke Spanish. So I was a dude trying to speak Gujarati to people who were speaking Spanish to a teacher who was trying to teach English. So it was a
big shit show, huh?
it was a big fun mess. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Same for me. So like we grew up speaking Gujarati until we went to school. No, yeah, until we went to college actually. But they I wasn't put in any of that stuff. Okay. I don't know, somehow it worked out.
Yeah.
But do you think there's benefits? What are the benefits to you of being like bilingual?
Well, I think it's super beneficial.
Yeah.
I just think you can connect with a lot of people, right? So like, and I don't always like super transparently, I don't always probably maybe acknowledge this or think this is as great as like it probably is.
Yeah.
I don't know the right word for it, but like people who have multiple languages or speak multiple languages, right? Like if you think about it, it just shows that I read this somewhere that it shows that they're brave, that, hey, they took a chance to come somewhere new and learn something new.
Yeah.
Not only that, from like a business and like a career perspective, it makes them more marketable. We're in a global world.
Yeah.
It makes them much more marketable.
Yeah. Being able to understand, I think, other perspectives.
Yep.
And it's like for example, like, one of my coworkers is Brazilian, and she speaks English, not well, but she speaks English. And, but she elicits a lot of behavior like my mom was when she was younger, right? Like that immigrant mentality, right? Yeah. Like all about the family, like very, very like worrisome as a mother, you know what I mean? Yeah. And like even, I wouldn't attribute all that to being bilingual, but I can understand her perspective. Maybe because I speak my own language, and I came up from that type of background, and the language is part of that, right? Yeah. You get different tones and voices, and I can tell like her tone is like a Brazilian tone, like that's how she would speak if it was Brazilian or Portuguese, right?
Right.
But she's trying to converse in English with that same type of tone. And I think like a lot of the American folks don't really understand like why she's speaking that way. And I'm like, dude, don't worry. It's just that immigrant abrasion that like they don't know the soft skills, right? And I think being bilingual has helped me personally with kind of pivoting that landscape and being more understanding. Yeah. I don't know if you find that,
Yeah, no, I feel like you are more understanding, or you can relate to people because it's like that's how your family is or was, right?
Yeah. No, exactly, man. So you go to elementary school, and did you have trouble like meshing because of the fact that you couldn't speak English right away?
I don't remember.
Right?
So probably not.
Yeah. So I don't
remember. So probably not. I mean, I feel like, and I don't know, I'm sure there is bullying and stuff that happens, but I feel like, kids in school are pretty normal. I mean, I feel like I did get bullied at the time, but I thought it was not normal, but like normal. Like,
nothing out of the ordinary.
Yeah, like whatever,
Yeah, kids are ruthless about things that aren't like normal to them. They're pretty like bogus about it. So
like I remember in elementary school, I would bring like Indian food, so like thepla or like rotli or something like that. I would bring. Like once I made the thing of like bringing shak or something that was like very aromatic, and people were like, "What the heck's going on?" But after that, there was like theplas and pakris and rotlis that I would bring or whatnot. And like, there was a time where I would get bullied and people were like, "Oh, like, what is this? Blah, blah, blah." But then like, it is what it is. Like, I don't think it shaped me or like it made me any different. Like, I don't think it was to that extreme,
Yeah, man. No, it's interesting. It hits everyone in different ways. And, kids are just like these moldable things. And like, it's very interesting. And then you seem pretty like, okay, you know, with your identity, dude. I completely denied it for so long. I was like, dude, I'm not Indian, man. And like, I would just like kind of really just put all that stuff on the side because I thought people would make fun of me for that exact thing, for like bringing Indian food. And then like in high school, I finally was like, you know what, F it, dude. I'm Indian, man. And then so like I would just bring Indian food, and I realized that nobody gave a fuck, dude. Everyone was like, oh, dude, that looks good. That looks good. And I'm like, dude, it was all in my head.
But I think it's different, right? Like it's different as you grow, I think.
Yeah.
Because like in elementary school, it's like, oh, like this is a random person or whatever, right? Like as we grow and as like, I think it's more commonplace and talked about. It's like, oh, this isn't right, or oh, I shouldn't do this. I don't know.
No, you're right. You're 100% right. I feel like
I'm not saying your pain was different than my pain. But.
My pain was worse. Are you kidding me? No, I think it was tough. There was no rule book, or there was no like code of conduct procedure book for being an immigrant youth, right? Because our parents were really kind of clinging to the Indian ways, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, you know, you see even like, you know, people nowadays, like youth nowadays, who really just still cling to the culture. And that's good. You shouldn't, I don't think you should lose it, but you also have to assimilate, right? You also can't just like create your own little India here in the United States, unless, you know, you want to just live in that bubble. So there was like a balance you had to find of like, I'm American, but I'm also Indian.
An American Indian,
Exactly, man. So like,
or whatever the proper term is, but I think,
yeah, Alaska Native. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, dude. What did you have any conundrums like that? Like major conundrums coming up, trying to like find your identity as a?
Yeah, I think I did, right? Like I think I didn't want to be like. I think there was a phase where I was like, oh, I don't want to be like Indian, or not I don't want to be Indian, but like I don't want to be different. I think was the basic fundamental thing. Where I don't want to be different, or I don't want to be like cast out or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But I think it just kind of. I don't know that there was anything that I did that made it work out. It just kind of worked out.
Yeah, you just kind of came into your own one day, right? It just kind of happened for you.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like how it happens. One day you just like, it just works. You know? You're just like, I'm just going to be me, dude. Yeah, I guess, you know, but that's cool, man. And then, so what you said, you played some sports. Did you play sports in school?
Yeah, so I played basketball in high school for a little bit.
Nice.
And then I played volleyball in high school.
Nice, dude.
Yeah. So I played a couple sports. I tried to play basketball like later on, like after sophomore year, and I was way too skinny. I was way too small.
Yeah.
Just, it wasn't going to work out. Way too slow.
Dude, have you seen the high schoolers nowadays, bro?
Oh.
Dude, the high schoolers nowadays are like shooting up, bro.
Oh,
like
really?
I thought I was tall because I was like 5'11", but like, dude, now like you look at some folks, like my cousin, he's like 23. Dude, he's like 6'4".
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, you're a brown kid, bro. What is going on, dude?
Yeah,
Like,
I really wish I was tall.
Dude, it's those GMOs, bro. The growth spurts are coming in hot, man. No, I feel you though. It's tough. I think so I'm trying to figure out if it was like genetics or lack of emphasis. Like, right, for example, right? Like Indian parents, I think they encourage you to be active, but to a certain point.
Yeah,
like
make sure you do your schoolwork.
Right, like that's first, and probably rightfully so.
Right.
But like even for me, like there was a point where like my parents were going to invest in sports anymore for me. Like they took me everywhere, right? But like when I wanted to like move to like the next best team or something like that, it was kind of like, we're good here, you know?
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to figure out if it was like, hey, is it genetics? Am I just Indian and I can't move as fast as everybody else? Or is it just that wasn't emphasized when I was a kid?
It's probably a mix of both, right? Like I know people that like now in today's generation, so the people that are, I guess they're still millennials, like they're 40s, right? So the people that are in their 40s, they have kids that are growing up. Maybe they're in the late 40s, so have kids in high school or middle school or whatever. Like they're putting them in sports and things of that sort. And it's kind of that point of if you practice, you may be able to recoup that or make up that gap. I just don't think it was something that was really emphasized.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like even there would be people that would play like travel or play club teams. Wasn't a thing. My parents, I don't think, had the time to do that. They're like, you get one sport or one activity, boom, cool. Yeah. And I don't think it was something that they understood or realized that, hey, this is what's going to make them go to that next level. Yeah. It's a tough conundrum, dude. And I know, like, you find it in every realm of life where I personally, I'm okay with being like good at a lot of things. Yeah. And maybe not specializing in one thing. Jack of all trades. Right? We were talking about being a product manager, right?
like a product manager forces you to be well versed in a lot of areas. And I think like that's a skill that's why I align with that type of role, because I like knowing like broad strokes items, you know? And
you don't need to know the nitty gritty minutia. And if you need to know it, you can ask somebody about it.
Right.
Exactly. And I think that's where we relate. Like, give me the bigger picture. I was talking to my boss about this, that it would be cool to like work on strategy or like the bigger picture, like work on the bigger picture of something. I like the minutia and the nitty gritty, like it'll bore me. Like, I just want to know the bigger picture, the vision. Let me set that, cast it, and then you go run with it.
Right. And then you like, I'll give you the structure, you manifest it and things like that. Yeah. It's interesting because it keeps you dynamic. It keeps you learning new skills, things like that. And we're by no means at the point where I don't want to like polish my skills anymore. Right. I want to keep like, you know, just kind of sharpening that tool there. What do you call it? Like, even, you know, I work in higher education, and like right now, a lot of it is like, you know, how everything's social media nowadays. So I'm sitting there like, dude, we need to connect with like influencers and like, you know, like the whole metaverse thing and like VR stuff. Like, can people take courses like on their VR sets and things like that? And like, I'm lucky that I can have those types of conversations, potentially allocate investment there, as opposed to being someone who's like in the weeds, like a campus advisor, completing calls to like prospective students every day. Some people like that, man. And I'm not going to knock that career path. Right. But it's just not one that I feel like, you know, you or I are destined to be on. Right. I like having an unidentifiable like journey. Right. I don't know where I'm going to go, but I'm excited to just kind of go along, you know?
For sure.
But anyway, we're kind of getting off there.
You said tangents were okay.
We're good with tangents, dude. Who said that wasn't okay, dude? So we're back.
Elementary school.
Right?
My younger brother, 4 years younger than me.
4 years younger than you.
I think we were in school together for a hot minute.
Yeah.
But it was like that weird phase where I was like, oh no, you man, leave me alone.
Yeah.
And you have a brother who's older, right?
I have an older brother. Yeah.
How much older is he?
He's a year and a half older.
Oh, so you're kind of closer, right? Like, but yeah, so then from there I went to middle school, and I did a year. So the middle school that I went to was, the middle school I went to was 6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
Okay.
But after 6th grade, I moved to another suburb where middle school was 7th and 8th grade.
Oh.
So it was like a whole new mix, a whole new spiel or whatever.
Wow.
So, and then that's kind of where I grew up in that area.
Okay. So then in terms of like, so from the time you can remember, right? So, you know, I know brown families in particular, because we both come from them.
Yeah.
They put a lot of weight in that older brother role, right? Like you take on, I'm not going to say it was yours, but you take on almost a third parent role. Was that something that was put on you, and like how'd you bear that?
I think I probably was more of a parent to my brother than a brother. Like, oh, do this. Like, I would go do stupid stuff, but like he had to do the right thing, right? Like, I think I don't know. I don't know if it was like the best way to go about it, but like it is what it is. Like, what do you know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you feel like, and not in a negative sense, right? Did you feel like you had to carry that on you? Like, did you feel like you were responsible for his well-being?
Yeah, because it's like, oh, Veeral, make sure he's good. Oh, Veeral, do this. Oh, Veeral, do this. If like, and like, I think as we got older, like, my brother's probably way more self-sufficient than me.
Okay.
Yeah, like, he could probably make better food than me and whatever, right? Like,
Sure.
He can do his thing. But like, when I was younger, it was like, oh, Veeral, you're responsible. Go do this. Veeral, like, you're responsible for him. Go make sure this is done. I'm like, oh man, like, you know, after a while, it's like, I don't want to do this. Like, you know. But yeah.
No, I feel you, man. I feel you. You know, and I never personally, I don't have a younger sibling, right? So I don't know.
You're the spoiled one.
I'm the spoiled one, dude. I got.
You attest to it,
dude. Everyone got their trial and error out, and I was good about it. So I felt like my brother though did have to bear some of that.
Yeah.
Like he constantly like had to. He was the trailblazer, right? Like whether it was a good experience or a bad experience, like he had to take it and he had to like forge his path, and then he could tell me the lessons learned, right? And I'm grateful for him for that, right? Because there was a lot of things I like dodged because he got hit with them. But you know, I'm just always interested to hear if other older siblings, like I know other older siblings who are just like, you know, I'm that's not my responsibility, bro. You're your own person. There's others who are very hyper focused and like shaping that person, and it could be for like, hey, I'm gonna like I need control, right? I need
Right.
to be type A. Yeah, you can flip that up a little bit if it's going down. There you go.
Cool, yeah.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, like some siblings, like I said, are hands off. Others have that need to like prodigize their little
Yeah.
sibling, right?
I don't think I prodigize my brother at all.
And that has an effect,
Yeah.
right? That has an effect on an older sibling and a younger sibling,
Yeah.
and they're dynamic because like the parents are trying to work on the kid, and the parents are trying to work on the older sibling to the kid.
Yeah.
So it can create a distance where it's like, dude, I don't even know if you're my older brother. You might be my parent. Like, you know what I'm saying?
True. Yeah. And I think there was a point where it was like, you're your own person. Like, leave me the heck alone. Like, I don't want to be responsible for you. Or like my parents would be like, hey, Veeral, make sure he's like doing this. Like, leave me alone. Like, it's not my problem. It's your,
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's a point to that.
Yeah. And so anyway, I'm just asking for dynamics, just to see how that ended up. So let's say we go to high school,
Yep.
and you go to college, right? And
Yep.
you've decided I'm going into pharm school.
It's a great story.
Right? Let's go.
Yeah. So, you want the interview answer or the actual answer? We're on a podcast, so
Come
I'll
on.
give you the actual answer.
Give me the answer, man.
So
I'm trying to hear it.
I didn't want to go to college. I thought college was a scam.
Okay.
So I told my dad, I was like, we're Indian, so I ain't got to go to college. Like, let's run a business.
Yeah.
And so I was like, Mark Zuckerberg didn't go to school. Bill Gates didn't go to school. And Zuckerberg, Gates, and there's somebody else that didn't go to college. They all dropped out. And I was like, well, like, why would I go? That's dumb. I was like, these people hired people that went to college, and they all dropped out.
Yeah.
So why would I go? My dad was like, listen, we came from India. And so my dad has a master's in organic synthetic chemistry from India. But when he came here in the 80s, it didn't equate over. So
Right.
in America, he has like no degree technically. And so he didn't have the time or the money or whatever to go back and get another degree. And also to the point, like, he studied from the same books. So he's like, this is stupid. Why am I going to pay money and go do the same thing again?
Yeah.
Right. And so, but he always had this thing where he was like, hey, my kids will have an American degree.
Yep.
At least one. And I was like, cool, man. College is a scam. So wherever I went, there was a community college there where if you're in the top 10% of your school, you could go for free. I don't want to pay for it. So I was like, great, let's do it for free. I went, I got this booklet, and in there it said physical education. I told my dad, I was like, you don't care what I'm going to do, right? Because, like stereotypical Indian doctor, lawyer, engineer, right?
Yeah.
And I was like rebelling. I'm like, nah, man, I'm not going to do that. And so I got this pamphlet, and it said physical education. I was like, great. I could wear shorts, I could play sports, and I could have my summers off, and I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
My dad he was pretty smart about it. He was like, yeah, that's great, but just realize the life that mom and I provided for you takes a solid 6-figure income.
Love it.
Yeah, so you could either eventually get there or you could start there. And I think it was like 17-year-old Veeral. I'm like, Dad, that's dumb. Why would I eventually get there? I want to start there.
You're right.
Right? And so whatever. So I was like, okay, I got to go back. I went to my guidance counselor, and my guidance counselor's funny story. I hated school. I like the social aspect of school.
Right.
I like learning, but I like experiential learning. So field trips, my jam. If you teach me about something and you show me and you take it to me and I can feel the experience, great. I don't want to sit and read a book. You tell me to read chapters, I'm going to fall asleep. Can't do it.
Yep.
And so I would go to my guidance counselor because I hated calculus because I didn't see the point. Like, if
So
you don't
useless.
if you don't explain to me the why of why I should learn something, I don't care. And so I hated calculus. I wanted to get out. And so I would go to my guidance counselor and I would be like, hey, I need help. I got a problem, whatever. She's like, dude, you're in the top 10% of the school. Like, what do you not understand? I was
Right.
like, no, like, I'm very confused about my life and blah, blah, blah. So whatever. I developed a friendship there. And so I went to her and I was like, listen, Miss Wright, I hate college. College is a scam. My dad told me I got to go. I don't want to go. And so I was like, I need to get in and get out the quickest way possible. And I got to make 6 figures.
Yep.
And so she was like, okay, fine. She did some research, whatever. She was like, you could do this program where you could, and so I read this book, and in the book, it talks about the yes technique. So if someone's disagreeing with you, you want to, kind of get them on the same page, get them by saying yes. And as they're saying yes, they're getting in that phase of saying yes.
Yeah.
They'll eventually say yes to the thing, or the chances of them saying yes to the thing that they were opposed to might be higher. And so, and to that point, so I was telling her, and she was like, listen, if you go to get a bachelor's degree, it's 4 years. To make 6 figures, you need at least a master's.
Yeah.
Which is incorrect, but I just took her word for it, right? I didn't know.
Yeah, you don't know better.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, I need at least a master's. She's like, that's 5 years. But if you do this pharmacy program, that's 6 years. and you'll have a doctorate degree. So people will call you doctor.
Nice.
Spoiler alert, nobody calls me doctor. And she's like, you'll make 6 figures. I'm like, okay, cool. And at the time, I walked over to the store that I worked at, and I would like stock stuff on the shelves at this at Target. And there was this pharmacist that worked there. I just stared at her, and she had geriatric patients or older patients who would come during the morning time. So I would look, and I'm like, oh, doesn't look like there's anybody here. She sits on a stool, plays on her phone. I could do that job so good.
Right.
I like looked up on Glassdoor how much a pharmacist makes. I'm like, I'm sold.
I'm done. Yeah.
So next day I went to my guidance counselor. I was like, sign me up for this pharmacy thing. I don't know what it is, but apparently people are going to call me Dr. Veeral, and I'm going to make 6 figures.
Yep.
That's how I decided to go to pharmacy school.
There we go.
Yeah.
Very good.
So that's the logic behind it all.
Nice, man. No, it's what I think is you had good decision making, good foresight, and I mean, a lot of it's for your own merit, but I kudos to your dad for letting you know the business very clear, you know?
Yeah. I think that was a good thing. Like, I think maybe me more so than my brother. But we were very like early on, like told, hey, this is like what it takes to run a household, like pretty transparently.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. 'Cause, how do I say this? So, you know, for immigrants who come here, and maybe anyone who is a little downtrodden, right?
Sure.
Maybe in the finance department, they could be a little insecure about sharing that, right? And especially if they come here with nothing and don't have much to show for it per se, they might not want to share that, right? Yeah. But for your dad to be like, hey, you know what? Here's how we make do and how you have such a fortunate life. Yep. And if you want that for yourself, here's what you got to do. Very simple, not hard. Yep. And that takes away a lot of the BS because you're not like, oh, I need this crazy rewarding career and to like just kind of be like all euphoric about my career. What I need is to come out on top every month and to like be able to do things. Once you come out of that like poverty line where you're just making ends meet, that's when you can have foresight. That's when you can do some life planning. That's where you can be happy, you know? And it's good that your dad was able to kind of share that with you at an early age because it's kind of
to that point, like we weren't by any means in the poverty line. Like my parents were doing good, but we went on this one trip to India, and every time we would go to India, we would stay at my mama's house, my uncle's house, and his house was like very Americanized and very like easy for us to accommodate or assimilate into. Yeah. But this one trip, my dad took me, and he took me and my brother, you know, he was like, listen, we stay in this nice area, but let me show you how people really live. Nice. And so we went to like the poverty areas, and he's like, this is how people really live. Like, there's no such thing as air conditioning here. Like, and so it just kind of made me have a perspective and really grateful, you know? Yeah. And I think to that point, you know, if people want to have careers that are rewarding and don't pay them the best, that's fine. I got no beef with that, whatever. You can have a mix of both, or you can have one or the other, whatever. You do you, it's your own life. I just knew for me, I just never wanted to have to worry about money. Like, right. I didn't want money to have to be a concern. Dude,
and let's like peel that back a little bit, right? And I don't think it's about the money itself, right? It's about some of the things that come with the money. Like, for example, like if I was really struggling, like I would not be like, yo, Veeral, come over. We'll get dinner together. We'll chill out, whatever it is, you know, and we'll do that. And, you know, it allows me to be generous and give back to the people I care about, you know? And if I didn't have that, I would be generous with my time, maybe, right? And I still am, right? I think time is more valuable than money. Yeah. So I'll always give someone my time who I care about. But it's also really nice where, hey, dude, I'll bring it over one day, or hey, dude, I got this one. Don't worry, you know. And I'll pay for a good time, you know. Like if it's with a good friend, someone I care about, I'll cop that, you know. And those are the type of things that you want to do with the people you love, right? You want to be able to do those things, and if you can't, and you see other people doing them, you might feel a little bit like, man, dude, what the hell? Or you just don't want that to be a void between you and having good experiences, man, because people go their whole lives and they're just fucking nickel and diming, and you're curbing yourself for good experience because you're too cheap, man, and you don't have the money, and it's like.
And it's interesting. I think I've kind of come to, I don't know if I'd come to terms isn't the right word, but there's been parts of my life where, like, when I was in high school, it was literally about the money. I was like, I need to make, you know, this X amount of money, and that's what I need to do, and that's why I'm going to this. All throughout pharmacy school, I had in my wallet, one day closer to 150K, one day closer to 150K. Like, that's literally what I had written down. Okay. Because that's what I looked on Glassdoor, and they told me that the pharmacist made. I'm like, great. I didn't do any research. I was like, whatever. That's what it was, right? But I just knew that a 6-figure would be able to let me live life the way I wanted.
Yes.
I didn't realize what debt was. I didn't realize what taxes was. I didn't realize anything.
Yeah.
But I think there is, something to be said about people that, hey, like if they want a career that may not pay as much but is more rewarding, more power to them, as long as they know that they're not going to like drive the Lamborghini or the Bugatti or whatever. And I don't need a Lamborghini or Bugatti. I just, like you said, I don't want to have to worry about buying a $12 meal or whatever, right? Like it shouldn't be a second thought.
Right.
Or like if I wanted to go do something or go have an experience, it shouldn't make a difference in my bank account. But if people don't want to do that, that's also their prerogative,
That's
whatever
their
they want to do. Just for me, I just never wanted to have to worry about money.
Right.
And I think growing up in an immigrant family, right, you kind of like, like your parents had to hustle and they had to work really hard to like, just for you to have like the bare minimum average. I shouldn't say bare minimum average, but like to have a decent life, they had to struggle really hard.
Yeah. And they were worried about money, right?
Yeah.
Like they were worried about the money, which is like, fortunate for us, they set us up to like not worry about the money.
Right.
But you can see like, in that generation, how it's affected them,
Yep.
like worrying about money, right? Like it's definitely kind of like, it curbs their decision making, right?
Yeah.
Even right now, like my parents don't do certain things because it's like cumbersome to pay for sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I have to convince them. I'd be like, dude, go on that trip.
Yep.
Go do it. Like, why have you been working all these years if not to just do this right now?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, be unremorseful. And like, I think a lot of it is like, I don't know, I'll speak for my parents specifically. It's like they sometimes worry about who's going to take care of them when they get old. And I'm like, you got your family. Like, you're going to get, but you can't just like hoard.
You and Alyssa are going to have your parents move in?
Dude, not right now.
Talk to Alyssa about this. I don't know what's happening, but
dude, you've seen my situation here, bro. Ain't no room for them in here. But I love you, mom. But
Auntie, it's okay. It'll all work out.
we good. What do you call them? But I just don't ever want to have to say, hey, look, you know what, I gotta hang back on this experience because I can't right now. And like it's happened, right? Like a few years ago. Is that thing dropping a little bit?
It keeps dropping. Yeah.
Here, hold on. And we're back, son.
Yeah.
A little quick technical issue.
Yeah.
No
Technical
problem.
difficulties, no worries.
But
yeah, to your point, it does curb the decision making, and there's a lot of things that I feel like we can do that our parents may not be able to do, right? Like, for the simple fact that, like, I don't know, just something like silly that you may not think about, right? Like, oh, a gym membership.
Yep.
For them, it's
self-care.
Like, self-care. Like, I wanted to go buy something, right? Like, I wanted to go out to eat 3 times this week, right? Like,
yeah.
Well, okay, I wanted to go out to eat. I'm going to go out to eat to a fancy restaurant.
Yeah,
instead of, what is the Domino's $5 pizza or whatever, right? Like, and again, like very grateful because as a kid, I didn't know the difference. And it's not about that, right? But it's just, if the parents want to be able to do something, they should be able to, right? It's just,
they deserve it.
They had to hustle and figure it out so that we could. And granted, to the point, right? Like a lot of our immigrant parents came to America so that we could have a better future, right? So.
No, 100%. And, I see you doing your thing, man. You've been hustling, dude. You're all over the place, dude. And, so outside of some of your day-to-days, I see you doing a couple other things on the side, man. Yeah. And give me a little bit, we don't have to go too deep into it, but give me a little bit of like your reasoning for the way you pivot, right? Like you seem to be a guy who has, the Vyas vision ingrained.
Little name, little hashtag.
Right? You seem to be a guy who has a vision, and I definitely don't want you to give away your secret sauce, but tell me a little bit about your motivations, like why you do what you do, man.
It's funny. I was on a date, or I was talking to this girl, and I was like, hey, like, you can have the secrets, but you gotta earn them. Like, once you get married, then you can get the secrets.
There we go.
To the Vyas vision. But it was funny. But anyway, I think for me, it really comes down to, people are like, oh, like, what's the vision, or what do you want to do? Or, like, it's really simple. I just want to be able to do what I want to do, when I want to do, wherever I want to do it, with whoever I want to do it, however I want to do it. It's very simple.
Good.
I don't want to ever have to worry about money or time, or someone saying, Veeral, you can only go on lunch from 12 to 1, or Veeral, you have to sit in a cubicle from 9 to 5. No, I'm going to do it like very respectfully. I'm going to do what I want as long as I can get my work done or get whatever I need to get done, right?
Yep.
And so I always want to be able to take that and push the limit. And I think I was talking on another podcast about this, that I think earlier on in my career, I may have played a little more on the offensive. And then I went to pharmacy school and I racked up a bunch of debt because, you know, I have my own opinions about the educational system, but that's maybe for another podcast. But, you know, I was like, oh, what will happen if I don't pay this off? You know, what will happen if I don't pay this off? Oh, I have X amount of dollars. You know, pharmacy school is, you know, a lot. Pharmacists are saturated and it's really hard to get a job, and what will happen. And so I tried to like mitigate my risk as much as I could. And then I went back on the offensive. Like, and when we worked at our time together, right? Like, people know I'm not going to say, if I don't like something, like, you're going to know.
Yeah.
And if I think something is silly, I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't make sense, like, adios, hasta la vista, baby, bye-bye. You know, like, I'll go do something else. I'll figure it out.
Yep.
And I think that's kind of been where the pivots happen, right? Like, every time there's been something that, like, doesn't align with the way that I think it should be done, and granted, I could be wrong, but it's just not the way that I think it's going to be done, you know?
Yeah.
Or it doesn't align with my values or what I want to do or how I want to live.
Yep.
I got to go.
I agree.
Each time I've left, it's been for the better.
Good.
So
good. And so it's working.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I like to hope so. But, you know, so yeah, I'm a pharmacist. I used to work in the community setting. From there, I went to, you know, managed care organization. From there, I went to the pharmaceutical industry. And like, outside of that, we have a family insurance business that my dad primarily runs, but I kind of help out in that. And just kind of diversifying. And I just always wanted to have options.
Yeah.
I never wanted, it goes back to that immigrant of like, I never wanted to have to worry about money. And like, my dad told me this, it's kind of silly, but like, a lot of things, like when we were younger, my dad would like walk, you know, get groceries, and we would like drive in the car with him. And so as a child, you can imprint on a child's mind by telling them certain things, or, you know, as you have these conversations, it imprints in their mind. And so one of the things he talked about, I was talking about this with someone the other day, but one of the things he talked about was like, he was like, hey, Veeral, you know, you should never have to worry about money. Like, if your wife wants to buy something, you should never have to worry about like them saying, oh, you know, this purse is $20 and this purse is $50. Like, not saying that they're going to be like wasteful or whatever, but like, it shouldn't have to be a question. And so I think as I've evolved and as I've grown, I've come to different ways to think about that, in terms of like, I think both partners bring that to the table.
Yeah.
But like in old school, like Indian culture, right? It's like the man is the head of the house.
Yes.
The man brings the food to the table, or like the money in the family.
Yeah. And
so from that point, he was just like, if your wife wants to work or she wants to do whatever, that's fine. But she shouldn't have to like stress about, oh, are we making ends meet? Like, you got to figure that out.
Yeah.
And so that kind of plays into that, right?
Sure.
The other piece was something that was, the other piece was something, you know, that he had said was, when you get married, right? Like, it's you and your wife. And so your wife may disagree with the parents. And this is something that from where we previously worked, you know, it's something that I learned a lot. And like, as hearing people, they would have arguments with like the mother-in-law, or like, you know, the husband would agree with the mother-in-law and not the wife or whatnot. And like, my dad made it very clear. He's like, listen, you pick your wife, you pick your wife, you pick your wife. If, you know, your parents disagree with you, you can respectfully disagree. And even if you agree with them, you do that, you go take care of your business behind closed doors.
Yeah.
But you and your wife are a united front.
Right.
And then you go and figure your stuff out together, you talk it out, whatever. But you're never going to throw your wife under the bus.
Never.
And so it's just like a lot of like interesting things that kind of have imprinted in, you know?
Yeah.
I don't currently have a wife, in case you were curious. But.
Yo, holla at my boy. He's available. No, but my soundboard is super like but anyway. No, I agree with your points, and I like the flavor you're putting on it, and you know,
the garam masala.
You know, a little bit of garam masala on there, a little bit of throw a little atanu on there as well. Why don't you? I agree with this whole
mango pickle atano.
Dude, so do you like gorkeri?
I do.
Like chundo and stuff?
I didn't like it when I was younger.
Yeah.
But as I got older, it became an acquired taste.
Dude.
Some rotli and gorkeri.
Dude.
Yeah,
so, all right. So does everyone calls it different. So it's like that breakfast food, like gobij? Does your mom make that? It's like cabbage.
I thought that's like a shock, like a dinner item.
So there's a dinner version of it, right? There's a dinner version of it, but there's
Okay.
like a nasto version of it.
Dude, Mama Pond, you're gonna bring that.
Dude, I
over?
gotta give it to you next
Yeah,
time.
come
So,
on.
so what I'll do is I'll take like tiki bakri
Uh-huh.
and put some of that like cabbage stuff in there
Uh-huh.
and throw a little like gorkari on top, make it like a little burrito out of it.
There you go.
Dude, I should start my own
Oh,
restaurant.
there you
dude,
go.
if you kidding me?
Anyway.
Anywho, what do you call? No, so this whole view
Yeah.
of a partner, right,
Yeah.
is very interesting for us, right, as individuals,
Yeah.
because I do think like what you said is true, where hey, like you were saying, hey, if your wife wants a purse or something like that, it's like, hey, she should be able to get it, blah blah blah, what have you. I'm cool with that. I'm good with that. But at the same time, I'm like, norms are different now, man. Like,
Yeah.
I definitely don't want to be taking care of somebody else
True.
in that traditional sense. I don't want to have like to take care of you as if you were a child.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I need a partner
Yeah.
who's going to challenge me and call me on my shit and
Yeah.
really not be afraid to do that. And I would expect them to do. They would expect the same from me, right? It's a partnership, and I agree with you. It's like, even if it was my parents, and if they were saying something to my wife, and if let's say she was wrong, even in my eyes, I would just flip the bird to my parents. I'd be like, you know what? Even in that moment, like, I'll say she's wrong behind closed doors with her only.
one-on-one. Yep.
Exactly. I will never do that. And I'm just interested to see, like, obviously, you're single right now, so you don't have it, but it'd be cool to see how you like shape your own relationship,
Yeah.
once you get into that, because there is a lot of couples that you'll see that still follow the path that our parents followed, right? Wife's the homemaker, guy's the breadwinner, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Nothing against that. But there's also other paths. Like, that's why I like to just tell everyone there's something else there, right?
Yeah.
If you want it, you can find something else.
Yeah.
There's people
And I think
who do it.
to your point, right? Like that's the piece that I had said, that I think I understood that, like, the way that I kind of remember stuff is like, my mind's pretty small. So I have to like take these concepts and like relate it to how it remembers in my mind.
Right.
And so what I got out of that conversation is I was like, dude, just make so much money that you never have to worry about money.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to be a billionaire. You just don't have to worry about money. Like, that's just what it has to come down to. And obviously there's pieces of like, my dad would always say, hey, live below your means, but keep increasing your means.
Yes.
Right. But like,
Your dad's a smart guy, man. Tell him
he
I
should-
said what's up, dude.
Yeah. You should write a book,
Yeah.
But so to that point, right? So I don't want to take care of somebody, right? Like, it's nice to be able to be like, oh, I want to take care of you, but there's this, I think it's a rapper or an R&B singer. His name's Fabulous.
Oh, yeah.
And he has this line, and I tell people this all the time. It's like, he has this line where he says, I'm a movement by myself, but we're a force when we're together.
Yeah, there
you
you
make
go.
me better.
Oh, that's from when Neo was in that song, right? Or there was a singer in that song too, right?
Dude, I don't know.
Dude, we're gonna play that song after
We
this.
could play the
I
song.
totally know what song you're talking about.
Yeah. But so that's kind of the piece, right? Like,
Hell yeah.
I'm very confident. I don't want to come off cocky, but I'm very confident and grateful and like humble about my path and my career and myself as a human. I want someone who's an equal, not
Yeah.
someone who like I'm lifting them up.
No,
And-
I totally agree.
To your point, if anything, like, I would love to challenge that norm where if my wife made more money than me, I would be the first like fanboy, like Veeral's wife fanboy. Hey, check out my girl, blah blah blah.
I'll be your sugar baby.
Yeah.
dude.
So, and like I openly say that all the time, and I think this goes back to, we're going on multiple tangents, going through time
Let's
spans.
go, dude.
But I think that goes back to like that traditional Indian. When I was younger, I would be like the Dior, like Sita Sado Chokra, that like was like, hey, hopefully all your listeners can understand my half English, half
Put the
Gujarati.
captions on.
Yeah, put the captions on. But so I used to be that one that was like, oh, they said do this, okay, I'm gonna go do this, like blah 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 blah. As I got older, I started questioning stuff and questioning. And it's interesting, like, and to try to do it as respectfully as possible.
Right.
Sometimes it doesn't come off that way, but like I'll start challenging stuff. Like, why is this like this? Why is this like this? Oh, you said a girl can't make more money than me? Why not?
Why? Yeah.
Right? Like, oh, you said a girl can't be the breadwinner? Why not? Oh, you said my wife can't do this? Why not?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Tell me
and
why.
Not to be disrespectful, but like, if there's like a valid reason, or like, hey, this may not be the time, like, I'm happy to hear you out, but you can't just give me a blanket statement saying, oh, you can't do this because of this.
Dude, I couldn't agree more with that. In any setting, setting, at work, religion, family.
Yeah.
If someone can't tell you why, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
Right. You should really, really, really go into it, because if you asked me why I did something and I took offense to it, that should be a red flag for you.
Yeah.
Right. Because if something I believe in, I should be able to explain it, why I believe in it. And if you don't agree with it, you don't agree with it.
Yeah.
But I still should be able to explain to you without anger or abrasion or anything like that, you know? And I live my life the way I live it, man. If you want to ask me why I live it that way, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
And your opinion is your opinion, but I don't care. Like I'm going to be doing what I do, just like you're going to be doing what you do.
Yep.
And to your point about it is, I love your view on it, man. Cause you're like, you say you're not cocky, but I don't think this is even cockiness, man. It's like, dude, you're the shit, right? I'm the shit. You know, we're forces to be reckoned with, man. We're doing good things, and we when we're alone, we're thriving. We're doing our thing. So I can incorporate somebody else into that, but you got to be on the hustle grind. You got to be. You can't settle, man. Because when you settle, you get old, dude. And you start just keeling over, man. And that's not. I'm afraid of that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm afraid of like just being blunted and being like, ugh, like. I'll go do this, you know. I never want that for my life, you know.
Yeah.
It's
I think it's just like, hey, you got to have a family vision or a vision for the family or for you as a joint unit, right? The Vyas vision in my case, but you know, throwing off
double V's.
But I think in that case, it's like, hey, if that's aligned in what you want to do and where that grows, and obviously it can evolve and change, and people change over time and things, but you should kind of be aligned in like, hey, what is the big vision for your goals and things like that, right?
Agreed. Now let me ask you a question in the midst of all of your hustle, right? Do you feel, and this is kind of it's just a very high level, almost like silly question. Do you feel happy?
I think there are pieces, I think there are pieces and parts that I'm happy.
Yeah.
And there are pieces that I'm like, damn, I really need to be working harder. Damn, like I'm not really happy, you know? And like, I don't know if it's healthy or not, but you know, I think there are pieces where it ebbs and flows, right?
Yeah, of course.
I think there are pieces.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful for where I've gotten, and like, I might have taken a different path had I had to go back and do it, but for the most part, I would say I'm happy.
You're happy.
Yeah.
You're happy. Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, I think it took me, right, like, so in my career, right, like, for example, I think the other piece is I was talking to someone the other day where it's like I have a hard time, like, letting go of things I can't control.
Right.
Like, so you can control what you can control. Certain things you can't control, and, like, it is what it is.
Yep.
But I think, like, in my career, whenever I wasn't happy, I would make a change, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think in other parts of my life, right, like health-wise, I went on this, like, right during the middle of the pandemic, or maybe towards the start of the pandemic, I went on this whole, like, cleanse where I became alkaline vegan, and I would intermittent fast. I lost 20 pounds. I lost a bunch of my BMI, and it was great, but it's kind of like getting back to that swing of things, right? Like, I think maybe relationships is a different area, you know, like other parts are a different area, but yeah, I think for the most part, I'd feel pretty happy.
Good.
And I think it's kind of like, you know, happiness is in that progress or that process of achieving a worthwhile goal, right? I think I heard that quote, and that's kind of like as humans, we want to strive for something, right? You were saying settling, you kind of get old and hunch over.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, if you have a goal or something you're excited about or working towards, it's like, oh yeah, cool, I got something working towards.
Yeah.
And then when you get the goal, you set another one. You set another one. That's how you know, progress.
Right. No, I agree. And again, I wasn't like hoping to hear any type of answer, right? I was just trying to understand what you define your happiness as, man. And I think that's at baseline, it's tough. Yeah. It's tough to define, like, what makes me happy? Like, where do I get my happiness from? And I look to hear that from other people, right? It could be your career, it could be relationships, it could be anything. And as long as you can put your stamp on it, and even if you can't. I think
it's a mix of a lot of things, right? It's a mix of all those pieces.
Right.
You want to make sure you have good, deep-rooted relationships, you know, a good career that you're enjoying or doing, good health, good spiritual backing. It's like a mix of everything, right? And it's like my dad and mom, when we were younger, would make us write goals.
Nice.
So it was like, it was all like, I think 5 F's, if I'm not mistaken. It was faith, family, finances, friendships, fun.
Dude,
5 F's. Yeah.
Your parents are like smart people, man. My goodness, dude.
So
some good exercises.
Like, and so even now, like maybe in the last year or so, I haven't, you know, progressed as much in doing that, but usually at the beginning of the year, I'll like write down goals.
Yeah.
And it'll be like a couple things I want to hit on.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Good. Do you do a lot of or any like introspection? Like do you reflect often?
I think I didn't used to before, but recently I've been doing a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what kind of things do you reflect upon?
Life.
Yeah.
Life, relationships, career. Like if I had a meeting and how did I think that went, or what I could have done better. So in my current role in my job, I'm customer facing, so I will have a lot of meetings and things like that. And so sometimes I'll just like at the end of the call, I'll reflect and I'll just be like, hey, how did I think that went? Or, maybe at the end of the week, I'll reflect and be like, hey, what could have gone better? In relationships, like if things don't work out, like, hey, what could have gone better?
Yeah.
What does that look like? And I think it's funny, as I get older, I kind of hone into that more. So I'm born in July, so I'm a Cancer.
There you go.
Yeah. And so I think Cancers are very like introspective or like emotional creatures. And I think when I was younger, I was like, oh, it's not like a manly thing to do or whatever. I don't really care what you think. Like, it is what it is. And so I think I'm more in tune with that, maybe more so than I was in the past, or maybe other people of the similar time range,
No, dude, I'm happy to hear that. I think that's a big stigma amongst men in general, but maybe even more so with like Indian men, right? It's like, dude, I don't have a problem telling like my friends that I do love, that I love them. Like I'll tell them all the time. I'll be like, I love you, bro. Like you're great. And I'll be like, this is awesome. This is fun. This is cool, And it's tough to break that. Some people like are really awkward about it. They don't know how to handle that type of affection from somebody. And I'm like, dude, I'll do it. Like I don't mind doing it. And as we wrap up here, man, I think one of the things I would love to hear is what are some of the big strides personality wise that you've made, let's say over the past 5 years? And one thing I'll offer up something where my biggest personality flaw was that I was kind of like a liar, like a white liar, or like a people pleaser. Like I would just kind of like lie just to like make sure a situation was okay, and I realized that, right away, like I realized once I became an adult, that was affecting my relationships in a bad way. And I was like, just respectfully say how it is or how you feel. And if you don't want to do something, because if you do a bunch of shit you don't want to do and you lie about it, it's going to come back around. Yeah. It's going to get you, And it was weighing down on my soul, dude. I felt like I was harboring a lot of like weight in there, and I just need to like just be honest, right? Yeah. Like if people don't fuck with you, they don't fuck with you. You just move along. Yeah. So that's what I'll say is like kind of like my biggest stride in the past like 5-6 years. Just for a locus here of a locus of reference.
Yeah. That's a deep one there. Yeah. I think I could do one that like is more broader, but it may encompass a bigger time frame. And so like when I was in high school, so again, bigger time frame, not 5-6 years, but bigger time frame, I was very shy. So I would look down. I would never look at you in the eye. Like I wouldn't meet you. Like I was not very extroverted. So like if people meet me on the street or they look at like the social media, like the LinkedIn or whatever, right? They're like, oh man, he's so extroverted. No, like I'm still an introvert to the core. Okay. Like I'm very open with you because I'm comfortable with you, right? But like if I meet a person, like if I met you on the street, I'm not saying hi to you, I'm looking the other way. Yeah. But I think that's probably the biggest thing of my personality, my life so far that I've changed. Or I'm still an introvert at heart, but I know how to turn on the extrovert when I need to. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's been one. And I just think the emotional piece, I think I'm more emotional now than I was before. Yeah. I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing, but it's a thing. It's a good thing, man. Yeah. I'll tell you it's a good thing, man. But yeah, man, I appreciate you sharing, dude. This has been really helpful. This has been very beneficial. I appreciate you sharing your story, man. Yeah. And I hope we can make this like a somewhat regular thing, man. Like check in once a year and do something like this and kind of catch up on progress, but other than that, man, I'll let you go, bro. Yeah, but this has been really good. I appreciate you, and we're gonna do this again, brother. For sure. Much love, man. Thanks for having me on, Amr. Yes, sir. Peace.